everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Life Podcast. I am here with a new friend, Brandon. He is an SBA loan officer with Washington Federal, a podcaster, but more importantly, a husband of almost 20 years, 19 years, 4 kids.
Yeah.
So those are the important things.
Those are the important things.
But, the people that know you from work or from your podcast, but this podcast is all about just kind of hearing the backstory. Shall we jump into it?
Yeah, I'll jump into it. Okay, let's see. Who's Brandon? So I was born just outside of Portland in a town called Oregon City.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always jealous, and it's been fun watching your episodes, because one of the things I love about Coeur d'Alene is there's so many people that grew up here. And I was always jealous of that because growing up, I moved on average every 2 years. And so we bounced all along the I-5 corridor between Portland and Bellingham.
Mostly. Oh, no, Washington. Okay.
So, yeah, on the Washington side.
Washington and Oregon. Okay.
Yeah. So it was first few years in the Portland area, and then we moved up to the Seattle area, and then we moved back down to the Portland area, and it was everywhere in between. So, somebody will say, oh, yeah, I was out visiting Anacortes. Well, I've lived in Anacortes. Oh, I was in Tumwater, or I was in Kirkland, or I've lived in all those spots. And so I'm kind of a rambling man. My wife and I, when I moved back up to Washington when I was 13 years old, went to church that first Sunday, and we grew up Mormon. No longer Mormon, but grew up Mormon. And one of the nice things about the LDS faith is wherever you go, it's pretty set up.
Don't they run this like kind of the same service everywhere?
Yeah, you could be in Seattle, you could be in Sao Paulo. You're getting the same Sunday school lesson. It's really well organized. And so
if we could back up just a little bit. So you moved all around. Brothers, sisters, what was your family dynamics like?
I'm the oldest of 4 boys.
Okay,
and
wow.
So there's me. I have a brother that's 3 years younger, one that's 7 years younger, and one that's 15 years younger.
So active household.
Active household.
There you go.
Not a quiet moment in that house. And and we did all the sports and we did all the things. So yeah, very active. And we were the spot. So whenever it was hang out with buddies, it was over at our place.
Yeah, with 4 guys, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Your parents are probably used to just having like, we say, because I have 5 kids.
Oh,
and,
that's right.
And lots of nephews and nieces. And we have like holes in our wall where heads or butts or knees or feet have gone through. So our house is just kind of like the house because people can kind of roughhouse in it.
Yeah.
Because I think one day when all the kids move, we'll
patch it all up and have a nice,
Right now, it's just pointless.
I was just lamenting that fact with a friend. I said, if it was just me, my house would be spotless. Everything would be in its place. It would be beautiful. It's the exact opposite of that right now, because I do have 4 kids of my own. And so it's nothing but chaos and confusion all the time.
Yeah,
it's
organized chaos.
It's organized chaos.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So 13, you moved back to the Portland area.
So 13, we moved back up to, I was in just outside of Issaquah.
Okay.
And we go to church, and this big kid's picking on me. And I'm like, we go home, and I go, I don't like the new congregation. This kid's picking on me. And my parents go, he just wants to be your friend. I'm like, well, he could do it nicely.
Yeah.
And fast forward, him and I become best friends. And there's a group of like 5 of us. And so this is the one time in my life where we stayed in the same area. We still moved around within the area, but we stayed within the same school district, same congregation.
Okay.
For 4 years. And in that time, we become best friends. There's a group of us, and we're at my house, like we were just saying, or we'd go over to this buddy. His name was Ben. And they lived on 40 acres, a bunch of horses, all this stuff. I didn't know any of it existed because we were in his room playing Halo. And fast forward to my senior prom, and his sister calls me and says, hey, can I go with your guys' group? And so she comes on in, and fast forward even more, that's my wife now.
What?
And so it's just, life has a funny way of throwing stuff at you.
So one of your best friend's sisters.
Yeah, not recommended, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think to this day, he'd still like to kill me. But it makes Thanksgiving and Christmas better because, we're all friends and family, and
That's awesome. Yeah. So, how old were you when you got married?
So 19, very young. So Rachel and I started dating. I was 17, she was 18. And then again, being LDS at 19, I was supposed to go off on my mission. And I did, but then I came home early because it just wasn't my gig. And I get home and we go out to Red Robin in Bellevue, and we're sitting there and I'm like, we could just get married. 2 weeks later, we got married.
Holy buckets.
Yeah.
Okay, now, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's totally fine. But how does that work now? Because I'm guessing your family is probably LDS. Is her family LDS?
Well, so that's what's kind of interesting is she comes from a family of 5 siblings, or there's 5 of them. And let's see here, my family all started to fall away. I think I was the last. Well, my dad may or may not still be active. I don't know he might still claim being LDS. My wife's side, her parents are very active, but then all of her siblings have fallen away too. So my wife and I were actually the last holdouts of the kids.
Okay, so there's no I'm just thinking in sometimes when there's, like a certain religion or something in the family and then everybody is still very devout and then there's the 2 that fall. Like if her family blamed you or if your family blamed her or whatever it is.
No, it can get messy. And I remember one of her sisters that was one of probably the last holdout before Rachel was, she left. There was a nasty divorce and some other stuff going on. And, I think as humans, we like to be a part of a tribe, right?
Yeah,
it's a survival mechanism. Of course it is. And so there's some of that when she was falling away that we wanted to try and keep her in the fold. And then when it was our turn, it was like, oh, we made this way harder on her. We just needed to love her.
Yeah.
Because people go through things and we don't get to decide what life they live. And so just love them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Regardless of where you're at economically or geographically or whatever the situation is, people go through things.
Exactly.
It's
right.
Humanity.
Yeah, and then we tend to judge people, and it gets messy really fast. Where one of the great things in Christendom is love God and love each other. Right, the 2 great commandments.
Yeah.
And as humanity, we do a really bad job of living those 2 things.
Yeah, it seems like, man, if there's only 2 things you had to do, you could probably do those 2 things. But they're hard.
They're hard. Yeah, which is why we need to be reminded.
Yeah, good deals. 19, got married. What did your family say about the quick, Red Robin, let's get married, 2 weeks later you're married? How did that work?
My parents were always pretty easygoing, and so it was, they were thrilled. My father-in-law, I remember he was wildly successful. Again, they lived on this huge 40-acre property, and I remember walking into his office, and I was really intimidated by him. And I asked for her hand, and he goes, you guys, I know you guys love each other, and you could live in a hole in the wall somewhere, and your love will carry you through. And so he was super supportive.
Oh, wow. Good,
my mother-in-law, who was my seminary teacher my freshman year of high school, that's one of the things you do as LDS is you go to seminary early morning. And I was dedicated. I did it 100% of the time, all 4 years. I'd skip school, but I'd go to seminary. She was my seminary teacher in my freshman year. And when she was in the office and she was not thrilled. She was not for it. She went along, and now I think I'm her favorite son-in-law. I think that's right, Laura. But it all turned out great.
Awesome. Good deal. So basically a quick engagement. A marriage. Because I know you have 4 children. When did that start coming along?
Yeah. So we knew getting married young was risky, right? I mean, marriage is a 50-50 proposition anyways, statistically, especially the younger you are, the harder it gets. And so we waited 5 years on purpose, which was good because a year after we got married, one of the things getting married young, I thought, okay, I'm not going to need to go to school. Both my dad and my father-in-law were self-made men. My father-in-law grew up in Tacoma in a little 3-bed, 1-bath house, I think he had 7 siblings. So packed house, back in the day. Lower income. My dad grew up downtown Portland, bunch of siblings, low income, and they made successes of themselves. And so the advice that I had always gotten growing up was don't go to school just because you feel like you have to go to school. If you want to go to school, go. But otherwise, you can do whatever you want in this world, which I thought was great advice, especially with the way that the school system works now. You're handing out $100,000 student loan debt to kids that have no idea what they're doing. There's a much better way to do the way that we do schooling now. And so I thought, cool, I'll get married and I'm going to go work for my dad, who owned car dealerships, and make a lot of money. Or I'm going to go work for my father-in-law, who had a publicly traded company and did seminars across the country. And I'm like, I got it made. I'm going to go work for one of these 2 guys or both of them at some point, and we're just going to be successful. Within a year, my in-laws got tried for tax evasion, and my father-in-law did 7 years.
What?
Which is insane because anybody that knows him,
shocker.
My in-laws are 2 of the most saintly, amazing people that I know. And it was just a total miscarriage of justice. My dad ended up having a drug problem And so he spent the next decade, my 20s, on vendors and totally blew up our family. And so my path, or the paths that I thought I had out in front of me, were gone within a year. All of a sudden, we were the adults in the room, which was really weird. And then in the midst of all that, I decided to join a band. And so
there you go.
Ended up having a recording deal with Atlantic, and we were doing all the things, the parties in LA and touring around and playing South by Southwest and all the fun stuff. And got up to that where I was 24. It had been 5 years, and it was, man, I can go do this thing. I know I can do it, and it's going to be a blast. But being a rock star isn't being a family guy like that. Those two don't go together. And I knew I wanted a family. And so we played this amazing show at South by Southwest, had all these producers there ready to sign a full deal. And we get done with the show, and I turn to the guys and I go, okay, I'm out. We got here. I'm good. Find another drummer. I'm going to go start a family.
Oh, my goodness.
So
how did they take it?
They weren't thrilled.
Yeah, holy buckets.
They weren't thrilled. But it was the right decision. Absolutely. Yeah. And so a year later, we had my oldest.
Wow, that's crazy. So what kind of music did you play?
We were like an alternative rock band. Had all the fun influences. I'm kind of a 80s/90s grunge era baby. And so that's what I modeled my drumming after. Our guitarist was a classic, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. That's what he liked. And then our singer was modern rock. And then we kind of filtered through bassists, and we just kind of amalgamized all that, and it was great. It was actually a lot more fun before the studios got involved, because then they would feed us songs. And it was all like pop rock, what was popular in the mid-2000s to late 2000s, which wasn't great music. But they thought that's what sells, and so this is what you guys are going to do now. And kind of took some.
So before, did you guys write your own music?
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, it was funny because my wife and I had gone to a seminar, and the guy said, if you want to be a painter when you retire, why aren't you painting now? And that just struck me like a bolt of lightning. And I thought, I want to be a drummer. I have drums. I play. I want to be in a band. And so that night I went on Craigslist of all places, found these guys locally that wanted a drummer, tried out the next day, and we wrote our first song that day, and we just clicked.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It was fun. It was great.
Yeah. So 5 years of doing that.
Yeah.
And did because you're married.
Yeah.
How was the traveling, with...
The whole thing was kind of entertaining because I had started in banking right as soon as I figured out this thing with either side of the family isn't going to work career-wise. And I had a buddy that said, well, we have a teller opening. Come try this while you're trying to figure your life out. Well, it's been 20 years. I haven't figured anything else out yet. And so part of our gig was I had shoulder length hair, which don't try and imagine that. It's not pretty. And I had some facial hair, and they made us dye it black. And so I was a teller in Kirkland down by the waterfront. It's hoity-toity. It's the nice part of town. And we'd have these sweet little old ladies come in, and here I am looking like just a band bum. And Brandon, how was your show over the weekend? Did you have a lot of people show up? And they were so sweet and so supportive. And so I'm trying to be professional, but I look like a band nerd. My wife was really patient, and she was actually pretty cool with the traveling. And at first she was heavily involved, and she'd come to the shows with us and help promote us. And then we got a band manager, and he didn't like the band guys having girlfriends or wives. And so it got kind of goofy. In fact, what is that? Hollywood Revolver? There's something down here on Saltese that's shut down now. Hollywood.
Yeah, it's called, it's something, Hollywood something.
Hollywood something.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize it until we moved over here in 22. And I was driving Saltese, and I'm like, I've been here before, because we had come over a couple times and played shows there.
Really?
Yeah.
So when were you in Teller in Kirkland?
Let's see here. That would have been, I think I was 20. Yeah, about 20 years old, and was in Kirkland for a couple of years. And
what years were those?
Oh, that would have been, let's see here. How old am I? 2007.
Okay.
Ish.
Well, I mean, definitely a lot older than you, but I went to Northwest in Kirkland.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And so I was there from 93 to 96.
Yeah.
And I would think that if you had the long hair and it was black, it probably didn't, it probably fit into Kirkland okay.
Some of it did, right? Because you had Rose Hill and then Park Place, the QFC and the TGIFs and all that stuff. And that's where the key bank was. And,
just Northwest is right up the road.
Right up the road.
Yeah.
It's all gone now, by the way. They've torn all that down. It's
Really?
all
The QFC and
gentrified.
all that's
It's
gone?
all gone. Yeah.
I have not been back to Kirkland for a while.
You'd be shocked.
Yeah, my brother-in-law lives over in Linwood, but we don't really stop. I don't really go down there to Kirkland. It's usually...
You jump over and...
Yep. Jump on that 405 or I-5 and go straight up because he lives in Linwood.
Or we called it locally Lynn Hood.
Yeah. That's probably not that far from the truth today.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask my brother-in-law if he's heard that. I'm sure he has.
I'm sure he has. Yeah.
So so you have a kid, you're in banking. And then how old are your kids now? Like close together? Yeah.
My oldest is 14, goes to charter, loves it, follows after dad. He's a drummer. He's in jazz band, and he's tall, handsome, intelligent, one of my favorite people. It's weird having to be dad when, right, I think that's kind of the point of being a parent is you want to raise these people that you end up loving and want to be friends with. But when you're raising them, you can't be friend status, right? You have to be dad status.
Oh, dude, that's so hard.
It's hard because he'll say stuff and I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. I have to answer this like dad and not like, I really want to answer this right now. So he's fantastic. 14. My next one, Camden, he's going to be 11 Christmas Eve. And then Thatcher, who's 9, and Susu, well, her real name's Milena. We call her Susu. She's my 4-year-old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, when you're raising, especially as the boys get older, 14, are there some times where you want to kind of give them a high five and laugh, but that that you're not supposed to?
All the time. A regular daily occurrence.
You got to not do that.
Well, and, I think parenting's goofy because my mom always told me she has an older brother. I have my uncle. And he was raised really loose. And then she was raised really strict. And usually that's a generational thing, right? If you had lax parents, you tend to be a more, clamped down parent. And then your kids end up being more liberal in their parenting. And it just kind of waxes and wanes generationally. And so I tend to be, my parents were pretty lax. And I think I'm a pretty good mix. So I think ultimately what we're trying to do is raise kids that you want them to be good citizens. And you want them to be people that you enjoy. And so it's hard to juggle that when my 14-year-old, he could already have a job. He's been looking for a job, but nobody will hire him because he's 14. They need him to be 15.
Yeah. He's
more mature and ready to go than most 18, 19-year-olds. And so I definitely find myself going, okay, do I, how strict dad am I still? Or do I get to start letting up a little bit and being more fun and, friendly?
Yeah, that's a hard question. My oldest is 27. I haven't figured that out yet. So my youngest is 16. So
okay.
I'm on the other end of that, but dude, I'm still trying to figure it out. It's hard because you're like, I'm not going to say the same things my parents told me. And then you find yourself saying the same thing. And then you're like, well, my kids will never do what I did. And they do the exact same thing that you did. And it's like, oh my goodness.
Does your oldest have kids?
No, she just got married this last summer.
Okay.
And I think they're thinking about kids, like next year or something like that. So
that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to be a grandparent.
I know it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We're trying not to. My wife, Brooke, and I are super excited. And my daughter edits these, so she'll hear this. But, we want them to do it on their time and stuff. Because we were like you. We were married probably 6 years, almost 7 years before for our oldest daughter, Bailey, was born.
Yeah.
We got married young, so I was 22. And we kind of wanted to be married and enjoy life and figure things out. And then we got into our later 20s and we thought, dude, we're not going to figure this out. So let's just start having
There's never the right time, right?
No, you can never afford it.
No.
You're never emotionally ready.
You just got to jump into the deep end.
Yeah, and it's freaky. I remember coming home from the hospital and just going, dude, what do I do?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to break this child.
Right. And you're extra careful that first little bit, and then you figure out, okay, we can drop them there.
Yeah, we did so the first kid is, the binky falls on the floor and you
you're
coil
cleaning
it, you clean it. The second kid, you might suck it off. The third kid, you wipe it on your pants. The fourth kid, you're just like, and the fifth kid, it's like, pick it up yourself.
You got it. It's so true. See, you did the hospital thing. We did home births for all four of ours.
No, we've had friends that have done that.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was great. The first one with Gabriel was my wife, last contraction. She's got a towel around her neck, sports bra. She's in the tub because not only is it a home birth, but we're doing water births.
All of them?
All of them. Yeah.
Wow.
And so she's sitting there and she looks like a boxer. And she just goes, "This is the coolest thing ever." I'm like, my wife is psycho. She doesn't have an epidural. She's doing this all natural.
Oh, my goodness.
She thinks it's amazing. What I married an Amazon, like what's going on here? And so it was a great experience. The second one, we ended up finding this midwife that was like Mary Poppins. Like you could have just taken her out of the movie and that was our midwife. And she had this beautiful birthing center on Lake Tapps over in Western Washington. And That was a great experience. And of course, it was Christmas Eve, so it was just kind of magical. Our third one, we were at home and we had moved so that we were about 10 minutes away from that birth center. And same midwife and all this stuff. And he was due on 9/11. And our midwife was going on vacation at the end of August. And she goes, you're not going to have the baby before I get back. You're fine. Well, this is baby number 3. Babies come earlier. And so sure enough, end of August, my wife starts having contractions. And so we call the backup midwife, and she's at a birth like a few hours away and out of birth. So she can't drop everything and come to us. So we call the backup midwife. And she's, okay, well, I'm on my way, but I'm an hour and a half out. My assistant's on her way, but she's an hour out. Drink some tea, try and relax. We'll see what we can, we'll delay this out as much as we can. This baby's coming. And so I get my wife in the tub. We have this huge, awesome tub in our master. And so the backup's assistant calls me and goes, I think I'm at your house, but no lights are on. What's going on? Well, we were in a new development. The GPS had taken her across town. And so I'm giving her instructions and I'm watching my wife and I'm like, I see the head. Put the phone down. I deliver my third son, put him up on mama's chest and get them taken care of. And then I grab the phone. Okay, now you're going to want to turn left on 266th.
What the heck?
It was great.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And it all, everyone's alive.
It was great. It was great. And then our fourth one, Sue, again, right, we know the routine at this point and we've delivered one on our own, so we're fine. It's a heat wave. That whole week, it was over 100 degrees. And I had agreed to help my brother change his brakes. And so he comes over on Saturday. I think it was a Saturday. And as he's coming up, my wife's like, yeah, I'm starting to have contractions. But, well, it's going to be a few hours. I can change his brakes, right? Yeah, go ahead. I'll just go play games with the kids. So she calls the midwife. Midwife says she'll be over in a couple hours. She's playing games up in our bedroom with the kids. And I'm trying to change my brother's brakes. His brakes are great. I'm like, okay, it's not your brakes, it's something else. So I pop open his hood and I notice that one of his belts is shredded. I'm like, dude, you got to fix this. So we go buy a belt and I've got a wrench or something and I'm trying to pull something loose. I slip. I break off the top of his radiator and hot radiator fluid goes everywhere. And so this quick, easy fix of brakes, which wasn't the brakes, ends up being me having to try and replace his radiator while my wife is laboring in our room.
Was a midwife there yet or anything?
No.
Oh,
and
my
so
goodness.
I get him sent away in one of our other cars. He takes the kids with him. I go upstairs. I'm with my wife. Midwife shows up, and 5 minutes later, we have a baby.
Oh my
so
goodness.
all of our birth stories are crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. That's kind of cool, though.
But I hope what you guys are getting from all of my weird stories is my life is interesting.
Yes,
it's fun. I get into weird, crazy adventures.
Hey, come on, man. It's an adventure.
Exactly. It's supposed to be lived.
So you've got 4 kids. Fast forward, you got 4 kids. You're still in banking, working. How do you balance being a husband, being a father, raising kids that are, I'm sure, active and all of that? Talk to me about that.
Teamwork. One of the things that we did want to do and we set out was we wanted her to be at home raising the kids.
Yeah.
And bankers don't make a lot of money, despite what you might have heard. And so we've just planned and we've made it work. And so like tonight, after you and I are done, one of them has dance, another one has basketball. And so we're shuffling around and figuring, okay, I'm going to meet you there and we're going to do this. It really helps having an oldest that's responsible so we can still go out and get date night and he'll stay home, watch the kids.
Yeah.
But, one of the things that I learned early on in my career was organization. And I think I've always naturally been kind of an organized person, but I'm, checklists and my Outlook calendar at work is cleared out. I'm always making sure I'm staying on top of that. And so it's prioritizing. I think maybe the overall key to everything, though, is just being present.
Yeah.
For at least the first half of my career, especially, starting to have little kids and everything, was I'd get anxious a lot. Like I wasn't doing enough. And I'm usually a good sleeper, but if I had a loan I was working on and somebody needed to close and all this other stuff, I'd be up at 2:00 in the morning just stressing out. And that only got me so far. And then I realized I'm putting in all the effort that I can. If I stress over this, I'm going to kill myself. I just need to be present, be responsible and take care of the stuff that I can take care of in the moment. But beyond that, it's going to take care of itself. And I sleep like a baby now.
Come on. Nothing's better than good sleep.
Nothing's better than good sleep.
Yeah. I sleep great. And so now you're fast forwarding further. You've got you've got the job, you've got the, your wife, 4 kids, they're active, and then all of a sudden you decide to start a podcast? Talk to me about that.
So I was having, I don't know if it can be considered a midlife crisis in your mid-30s, but that's what it felt like. And we had just moved over here. I was opening up the Spokane region, the Inland Northwest region for a bank. So all the pressures from that and all the kids and coming to a place where we don't have any family or friends, right? So trying to build community and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, this isn't what I want to be doing. Why am I still doing this banking thing, right? I started as a teller because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I'm still in banking 15 years later. What the heck am I doing? And so I started to look for purpose. That's also when we left the LDS faith. I mean, the last couple of years have been like this total upheaval and reshift of everything in my life. And in the midst of all that, I thought, I have a lot of good ideas. I like to philosophize. I'll do a dash cam. So I threw a dash cam, and I was driving between here and downtown Spokane, and I thought that's the perfect amount of time. I'll make fun of some really bad drivers, and I'll have a YouTube channel. Well,
okay.
That ended up being pretty negative, right? Because there's a lot of Subaru drivers that are all terrible. You guys need to figure it out, get your own lane, something. I don't know. You don't drive a Subaru?
I don't drive a Subaru.
Okay, good. All right. Not offending, at least you.
And
it's a lot to edit, right? I mean, these podcasts are already enough to edit anyways, but those, you're taking 45 minutes, an hour and a half of drive time each day and trying to distill it down into 5 or 10 minutes of good content. It was a pain. I learned a ton, but then I thought, wait, I could do I learned all these skills. I love talking with people. I can do a podcast. And we slapped that together at the beginning of this year, and it's been awesome. And part of that is, the whole theme with my podcast is very similar to yours. I want to hear people's stories. Part of me leaving the faith and re-examining everything about my life was the recognition that, you get born into a situation, right? Mm-hmm. Mom and dad, whatever your culture is, wherever you're born in the world, whatever religion you get brought up in, all those things, and that becomes gospel truth. Well, it's only gospel truth because you were raised that way. It's not because you discovered it on your own. And, a lot of us still have a conversion story at some point, right? This is what I was raised in, but then I had to have my moment. And it could be politics, it could be religion, it could be culture, it could be anything. Everybody's so dang convinced that they're right. And I really wanted to get to the why of that with everybody. And so with my podcast, I end up, I swear we spend an hour on people's childhoods and then, work their way out because there's so much content there. And so the reason it's called Main Character is because everybody's the main character in their own story, right? And so learning about what their stories are and why they see the world the way that they do. I just had a guy on, there's something called aphantasia, where this is a fun experiment. If you close your eyes and you imagine an apple, it's a green apple, it's got a stem, it's got a little leaf coming off the top of it, light shining on it. And then I have you open up your eyes and rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 5 of how clear the image of that apple is. Well, most of us are somewhere between a 3 and a 5. You can either see it clear as day, a 5, or it's kind of fuzzy, but you can imagine it and you can see it in your mind's eye. That's a 3. Well, this guy's a 1. He can't see anything. That impacts the way that he sees the world. And that's how it is for all of us, right? Are you a verbal learner? Are you a visual learner? Are you male or female? Did you know that women have an extra cone in their eye so they actually can see more color than us?
It makes sense.
It's right. It definitely makes sense.
Oh, it totally makes sense. I'm putting this, the podcast deal, all the stuff on the walls, new and all that kind of thing. Dude, I'm literally FaceTiming my daughters going, okay, now where should I put this? Dad, you can't put that there. That looks terrible.
Yeah.
And they'll see stuff that I don't see. I still ask my wife or my daughters, okay, does this match? I don't want to look like a goof, but to me it matches, That's why I wear jeans all the time.
It's easy. Everything goes with jeans.
Everything matches.
Until I wear my brown boots and a black jacket, and then people are like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I get you can't wear that color blue shirt with the darker blue jeans. You have to wear lighter blue jeans. You have to wear
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got the podcast going. You've been doing that for a year now. Yeah. What have you learned? Is there an amazing story or a story that just sticks out to you from the podcast?
Oh gosh. It's funny because I have a friend that has been on my podcast. His name's Mike. And, he'll give me feedback and he goes, I really like the stories where people had messed up lives. I'm like, that's so morbid. That's terrible.
Well, it's all of us.
Well, right. Because we like the stories, right? And we want them to be interesting. And normally it's the ones that are a little, jacked up that are fun to listen to, especially I think Peterson, what's his name? The teacher, philosopher dude. Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson, there we go.
He said that, we really like to watch horror films because it puts us into these weird scenarios that we'll never find ourselves in. And so we kind of, we get the adrenaline rush.
No.
An action movie or something, something that you'd never find yourself in Lethal Weapon or kind of like Braveheart or
that whole fantasy world.
Yeah. So you get to insert yourself in without having to actually experience the mortal danger of it. And so that's, I get why people like the crazy stories on the podcast. Makes sense. But I'm just as fascinated by one of my guests. He's lived a pretty normal, easy's not the right word, but just not crazy life. And, when I asked him what one of the hardest things he's ever gone through was in his life, he said he'd gotten in a fight when he was in high school. And the way that he was describing it, I thought like maybe he put this kid into a coma or something. But it was just a fight that any of us have gotten into in high school. And he said, I vowed right then and there that I was going to do everything that I could to be kind. And like, that's powerful. That's just as powerful as the person that was raised in a crack house, that all sorts of craziness. We all live remarkable lives and they're worth exploring. So I definitely have some fun stories. I had a guy that did 50,000 miles sailing on the Pacific. That's amazing. Had another gal that she was raised as a missionary kid in the Philippines. Her dad died while they were there, not because he had a heart attack. It wasn't the heart attack. It was the dye that they put into him to try and assess it. He was allergic. That killed him.
Oh my goodness.
Before he passed, they were sneaking Bibles into China. There's some, I just had a gal on that she beat breast cancer with it. She ended up freezing the tumor, and instead of electing to do the traditional chemo and everything else, and she's doing great. So everybody has really cool stories.
Yeah, that's cool. So how do people find your podcast?
I'm everywhere. I host it on Spotify, but it's on Apple Podcast and on YouTube and all the other fun stuff. And it's Main Character Podcast.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And we'll put that when this airs. I'll make sure and put that underneath so people can click on it and look at it. So
and hopefully we'll be swapping places here pretty soon, and I'll have you on mine.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, I always try to come to some piece of advice. Yeah. So, I think we kind of got some advice on the being a husband, father, whatever. But if there's somebody out there like thinking, dude, I want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, talk to me. Like, what do they do?
So it's actually very much like parenthood. Yeah. So I was just at a work conference over in Moses Lake, and one of the guys described starting a business like having a child, right? It's a baby. You're going to change some dirty diapers. You're going to learn as you go.
Yeah.
And we said it earlier, right? There is no right time. Just do it. That's the advice. Just do it. Yeah. Grab whatever mic you have. Go down to the pawn shop, buy it off of Amazon, do something, buy a mic, maybe do some research to figure out which mic to get, because that does matter. But do not seek perfection right out of the gate. Yes. Just do it, and you will figure it out as you go along.
Yeah, it's kind of that ready, fire, aimed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny because that's so true. Because when I started the podcast and I'd started to have a guest, I'm like, hey, I love your story. I'd love to just talk to you and explore that. Do you want to come on my podcast? And they go, you're a podcaster? Yeah. I'm like, sure. I had to learn. I'm learning right now. Yeah, I don't really know. And when you were talking about editing, that's the nice thing about a podcast, because I like it raw. Yes. I like just, if someone's kind of like trying to figure out what the thing's called or whose name is what or whatever. I don't edit any of that out.
No.
It's
organic. It's natural.
Let's just be real.
Yeah.
And you'll actually notice, if you're watching this podcast, probably about 10 minutes ago? Yeah, we had a battery that stopped, and we had to change the battery and then restart it up again. So there might be a little bit of blurb in there, but
it's life.
Yeah, and
we capture it.
I'll probably not make that mistake again. Well, actually, I'll probably make it 2 or 3 more times. And then after the third time, I probably won't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Dave, thank you for having me. This was an absolute blast.
It was totally fun. And I kind of do the podcast for selfish reasons. Yeah. I love to sit down with people, hear their story, and just I love talking to people, man. It's just fun.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, good deal. Yeah. Well, hey, if you've watched this, like this, subscribe to this channel, like it, comment on it, share it with people, all the stuff that maybe you probably know more than I do about what I need to do to get this out. But thanks for tuning in, man. It was so nice of you to spend time with us. And next week at 9 a.m., you'll see our podcast that airs every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.